Our question today, where is God? Where is God? Have you ever heard someone ask this question? Perhaps you have asked the question yourself. It seems that often when folks question where God is, it is during a particularly bad time. Here in America, we heard it a lot after 9/11. And now, the question, where is God, has had a resurgence with all that has been happening in these past several weeks for us. Where is God? In my observance of life and of people, it seems that it kind of all boils down to that concept of the glass being half empty or half full. Now, there may be some fence sitters, there may be some middle of the road folks, but I think most people fall into one of two categories. They are either glass half full people, they tend to accentuate the positive, or they're glass half empty people, and they tend to focus on the negative. Well, you say, what has that got to do with our original question? What has that got to do with where is God, Rose? It has everything to do with it. Everything to do with it. Because when it comes to God, if you are a positive thinker and a positive liver, you look at things like a newborn baby and you say, there is God. You see the stunning beauty of a fresh snowfall outside the window, like I saw this morning on May 9th, 3 or 4 inches of fresh snow, and as I'm speaking right now, it's still snowing, but you see the stunning beauty of that fresh snowfall, a gorgeous sunset, a majestic eagle as he soars across a blue sky. You look into the eyes of someone who loves you. You smell the delicious aroma of a fresh tomato picked from your plant. You view a field of sunflowers with their faces up toward the sun, and you say, there is God. A wise person once said, when you trust God with everything, you begin to see God in everything. Those of us who are church attenders, if we had been in church today, we would be discussing a portion of the book of Acts where Paul is in Athens. He is addressing the Areopagus, and he says to the men gathered there, I perceive that you are very religious, for as I was passing through and considering the objects of your worship, I even saw one altar that said, to an unknown God. And then Paul proceeds to inform them that the God they worship without knowing him is the same God who made the world and everything in it. He tells them that it's the same God who is the Lord of heaven and earth. Paul further tells the Athenians there that day that God does not dwell in temples made with hands as though he needed anything, since he gives to everyone life and breath and all things. If we listen carefully, Paul is going to answer our question, where is God? He continues and he says, he has made from one blood every nation of men to dwell on the face of the earth, and has determined their pre-appointed times. Don't you love that? God has determined each one's pre-appointed times. That means you were meant to live just now for such a time as this. It is not an accident that you are here just now. And Paul says God has determined the boundaries of their dwellings so that, listen, so that they should seek the Lord in the hope that they might grope and find him, though he is not far from each one of us. There's your answer. There's your sign. God is such a personal God. He could have said, he's near to everybody. He's near to somebody. He's near to anybody. But instead, he puts in his word, he is near to each one of us. God is such an individual God. But there's our answer. Where is God? Not far from each one of us. I love what Lord Tennyson said. when he said, "Closer is he than breathing, nearer than hands and feet." And if you want to read that amazing entire piece that Lord Tennyson wrote, you can Google it under Lord Tennyson under the title, "The Higher Pantheism." Beloved, God is not far from each one of us, closer than our own breath. But it is a matter of us coming to recognize that fact and beginning to live accordingly. When we feel as if God is far away, we can ask ourselves another question, and that is, who moved? Scripture promises he is ever near to us, so when we feel far from him, we have moved. We have put the distance between God and ourselves. And today it's so important for us to know that God is nearer to us than our own breath, because I know that there are people listening who are very lonely this day. You feel very alone. There is a solution to that problem. There are countless verses in the Bible that talk of drawing near to God. And in the Gospel of James chapter 4 verse 8 we read, "Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you." Elsewhere in the Bible it tells us, if you seek God with your whole heart, you will find him. It's a promise. Ask him to take away your loneliness this day. Ask him to manifest himself in your life. Ask God to show you that he is indeed closer to you than your own breath, nearer to you than your own hands and feet. Ask God to do that, and he will. Until we meet again, be blessed. And to all of you moms, happy Mother's Day.